Do you remember what Jesus said, that you don't want to be like hypocrites? And hypocrites are people like who pretend. They're play actors. They're hypocrites is a Greek word for like people who put on masks for theater or something. And so there are people who act like they're holy or good people, but inside they're not a lot of times. And people who try and do it to make people think they're good and wonderful, they're full of pride and they want to show off or they want to try and impress others. Well, these three righteous acts that we've been discussing in the sermon, he said, if you're going to give it in secret and not to show off. Don't be like the hypocrites, the play actors, the pretenders. And then if you're going to pray, don't be as hypocrites who like to be seen. Now, it's okay to publicly pray in public, but are you doing it to show off on how good of a prayer you are or something? And then the next one that we're going to talk about is this one, fasting. But I want to say something, a few things about this. Number one, giving, praying, and fasting is really good. And Jesus didn't say if you give or if you pray or if you fast. He said when you're giving, when you're praying, when you're fasting. Don't be like the hypocrites who do it to be seen by people. So you need to throw away pretending and just do these things, but do it for God and before God, to God, so that he can see you. And you try and keep most of it away from the knowledge of others. You do it sort of in secret, like a mystery. And you do it for God. You say, God, I want you to know that I'm going to give. And you give money without letting anybody know. You give your money away or something. Or you give your sandwich away. Well, if your family is paying for your sandwiches for you to eat and your mom makes you a lunch or something for your younger ones, don't give that away unless you get permission, because she's thinking that she's feeding you. She gave it to you for you to eat. So don't give that away. If you can ask, let's say you know a kid who needs they're not getting as much food or something, you can ask mom, can we make another sandwich, a second one, and I'm going to give that to my friend, and don't do it in front of her. Here, look what I'm doing to you. You don't give that to, some kid to show off and impress others and, to get them to approve you and praise you. That's not a good attitude. And it's sort of like a hypocrite. And God doesn't like hypocrisy and fake stuff. Do it in secret. Do it in secret. Do it in secret. Now, fasting. What is fasting? It's not like talking fast like this and really going really quick or something like that, or writing fast or singing fast or whatever, or running fast. What fasting really is that you don't eat. Now, adults should fast more than children, because you're a child, you need that extra energy, and you're still growing. Like, I'm not going to grow any taller. I'm 5 feet 9 inches, and I'm not going to grow an inch more. My foot is just I have small feet too. My foot is just going to go there, and I'm going to grow. So I have more of ability to fast. Plus, as a child, you don't want to fast food, meaning you don't eat. You say, why wouldn't we eat? God gave us the food. You're supposed to eat. You need the energy. Absolutely. But fasting has a lot of reasons. I've done teachings before that has loads and loads and a whole list of wonderful things that the Bible teaches that you can get. By the way, if you remember, Jesus fasted in the wilderness. Remember that story where he went out? He fasted 40 days and 40 nights. He didn't eat a thing. He did drink water. And whenever you fast at all, you should keep drinking water. There's only one person that I know ever has done that. It's probably other people have done it. But in the Bible, it's Moses. And that was a supernatural fast that he could handle. He didn't drink water. So it's important to eat. So what it is you take food. Doesn't this look good? I don't know about you, but I'm hungry right now. And this is a 4-cheese pizza right here. And you take food and you say, I'm going to sacrifice this. I'm not going to eat it. Or if I'm going to buy food normally that I'd spend money on, of course, you're not the one buying the food. You would take your money and give it to hungry people. Isaiah 58 is a great chapter about fasting. But anyway, that's what you would do. So fasting is when you cut out the food. Oh, no pizza for me tonight. That type of thing. Now, as a child, number one, you need to get permission. You need to have your parents listen to this video if they're not watching it. And then you all decide, she or he, who's ever guardian of you, maybe it's your grandmother, maybe it's your mom, dad, whoever's in charge of you, it's really up to them. If they say, no, honey, you're not going to fast right now, you don't want to sneak behind their back. You want to be obedient to your parents. Nevertheless, I think kids can do it. I mean, I know they can. People are like kids in other countries. They're starving, a lot of them, and they go for days. I don't believe you should do that as a child, but I think it's okay, depending on how old you are. Maybe you start with, okay, this is really small, but you maybe start with no cookies or something, no dessert if you get desserts, or no treats, no snacks in between meals and all. Or you might say, finally, Mom, can I fast a meal? You say, what do you do during that fast? Pray, go read the Bible. That's a good idea. And one of the reasons of fasting is to hear God better. That's what Jesus said. Man cannot live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. I'm talking fast, aren't I? So he really was fasting to hear God's voice. And what is, you've got a flesh and you've got a spirit. And your flesh is what we see. You see me right now. You can't see my spirit. So you see my skin and my eyes and everything. So my spirit is inside my body. And when you kind of take your body and say, look, I'm going to bring you under subjection, I'm going to make you sacrifice and get hungry, your spirit, a lot of times, somehow it just comes alive more and comes stronger. And there's many other reasons, but we're not going to go into the reasons right now. Here's the thing, fasting is a good thing. And you could start young and then you can build it and then you live a fasted life. Really, the fact is, giving, you should be living a giving life. You're a giver all the time, regularly, not just once in a while. Then you're praying regularly. You don't just pray in church or something. That's ridiculous, to pray before you eat. You pray all the time. Fasting, well, you got to eat, but this one you can kind of fast, throughout your lifetime. I really think God's called us to do this. Remember, Jesus said, when you fast. Now, the Pharisees and the people that he was really addressing a lot about, the hypocrites and all, they fasted Mondays and Thursdays. Most history documents say that. They fasted on Mondays and Thursdays. By the way, later in the 2nd century, for you guys who want to go a little deeper, the Christians decided, well, don't want to do Monday and Thursday. They decided to do Wednesday and Friday. But Jesus didn't say what days to do. So it's okay to do what he leads you to do. That's what I do personally, is I live somewhat a faster life. Recently I haven't. I've kind of needed that extra food for energy, but I sense the Spirit of God leading me. Like, I need to fast. Maybe it's an event that's going on in your life, a big important decision you need to make, and all sorts of other reasons. But I think you should live a fasted life, and God will direct you as you pray and seek him. Anyway, so you want to cut out the food. Now, what was important to Jesus in the scripture is, in the Bible here, is how you fast. Like, they did it to be seen by people. What they would do, he says, where is it? When you fast, do not look like really sad and miserable, like you're really hungry and you're walking around with a sad face. You disfigure your face. It's almost like that mask thing. It's like one of those real sad drama faces like this, and you make your face long or something. And by the way, they actually had long masks in those days, longer ones. But what he said, do not look somber as the hypocrites do, like really, miserable or something. He says, for they disfigure their faces to show men they are fasting. He said, I tell you the truth, they've received their reward. What's their reward? Praise of men. People might look at it and say, look, you're really fasting. I'm fasting before God, and I'm just doing it before him. No, you're doing it before people. You want them to know that you're fasting. The believer, the follower of Jesus, the one who's doing the righteous acts before God, doesn't want people to know that you're fasting. Of course, like if you're in your family, you're getting food for your family, some people are going to find out. Even some people have found out in my life when I fasted, but I try not to tell them unless I'm giving them an example. I might say for kids, by the way, I'm fasting, you need to fast. I mean, that, I try and lead an example. And the Bible talks about, Paul said he fasted and all, there's times of it, but basically you try and keep it away from as many people as possible. But again, since you're a child, you're going to you should let your parents know that you're fasting and get their permission. All right. So it says, when you fast, he said, what they would do also is not only long faces, but they would let their hair get, like, they don't wash it with oil, like an oil. They would let it get kind of scraggly or greasy or whatever. Or the other thing, in the eastern part of the world, a lot of people, they put oil. Some people on our part of the world does too. But in the East, that was a really popular thing. Kind of, they put oil on their bodies and such. And they especially oiled their hair, kind of dry hair or something. So what happened is, when they fasted, they didn't do that. And then they made sure somehow that people looked at them. As a matter of fact, a lot of times it's kind of crazy, but they would wear the same robe or something. They would, like, I'm miserable, they would take their robe and not wash it, or things like this. I guess, start smelling. They also took ashes and put on their head as a form from the Old Testament and make them look like I'm really like, I'm just miserable. And they used to put ashes and dirt on their head and everything. It's kind of crazy. But it's not really good. But when you fast, he said, put oil on your head. He's saying, do what you normally do. And then wash your face and, take a good shower or bath or something so that it will not be obvious. You don't want to appear before people that you're fasting. Don't even let them know. Let's say you go to school. Now, you don't want to lie about it. Let's say you're at school and you're not eating lunch with your mom's permission or whatever. You say, I'm not going to eat lunch. They say, oh, why aren't you eating? I have a good reason for it. I'm not eating today or whatever. I mean, you're not trying to you don't lie to them. But if you have to, you can tell them, but maybe they won't even notice, which is good. You don't want to be noticed. That's the point. And only your Father who is unseen. See, he can't be seen. He's going to see you, what you're doing in secret, and it's giving and praying and fasting and all. And then you, child, are going to be rewarded for that. And then he'll actually openly let people know it, somehow. And what are the rewards? He's not telling us. I think some of the things is your life is going to be changed. Really, as you fast and as you pray and you give, your spirit is going to become more like Jesus, and you're going to feel Jesus come stronger in you, and you're going to, it's like he fits in you like a glove. He's like rising up in your skin, and you say, Jesus Christ is living through me. And then that's a reward that I want. I want to be like Jesus, so it pleases him. So, and to end, I just want to make sure you understand that's really good. If you're going to fast, do it in secret, okay? Hiding, hidden. A hidden life. It's a beautiful life. And also praying and giving. And then another thing is don't, okay, I'm going to underline that, don't show off. Don't impress people. Don't try to get them to know. So I don't know if you can see that really well. So you don't, another way, don't gain or try and get attention. See, the believer in Jesus isn't about trying to get people's attention, and not just in these great righteous acts, but you just don't want attention on yourself. You want people to see Christ in you and all that, and you want to live for him, but you're not like putting yourself out there. Self becomes less as you follow Jesus, and that is really awesome and liberating, and you get really life and joy and everything because of it. And the third thing is do it for God. The whole motive of our whole life, our whole heart is do everything for God. So if you're going to fast, if you're going to pray, do everything for God. Like he wants you to fast, and because he knows it's good for you. By the way, it's actually healthy to fast. There's kind of proof from doctors and things like that it actually helps cleanse your system somehow. I don't know how it does it, but I could talk about fasting for a long time. I think that's enough. I hope you get it. And in the meantime, I'm going to go eat my pizza. I wish I could share it with you. Sorry. Give you some. Anyway, yeah, this looks really good. Are you getting hungry? I am. All right, I'm not going to fast right now. No, I'm just kidding. I won't eat it right now. Anyway, God bless you. Thanks for listening.